Segment 1, Middle East on the brink. Welcome back to Klepper's Corner, folks. We're diving headfirst into what CNN is calling Middle East on the brink. That means Israel and Iran are playing real-life Red Rover with missiles. And guess who's holding the yellow ball? Yep, Trump Merica. Fist pumping and shouting America first like it's a WWE ring. Here's your executive summary: robust, bullet-pointed, and more alarming than your last cholesterol test. Israel launched major strikes June 13th, hitting Iran's nuclear and military sites. Iran replied by firing hundreds of missiles and drones, some slipping through. The U.S.? Trump just activated the big hats and sneakers diplomacy, deploying forces, sending bunker busters, vetoing Khamenei hits, apparently looking tough, but also tweeting, negotiation is option-ish. Iran's face-off with Israel is bad enough. Now add the U.S., and suddenly the region's worse than that time your aunt brought her new boyfriend to Thanksgiving. And yes, this is historical stuff. Israel's been shadow warring Iran forever, but this time it's overt. No shadow, full-on night in battle. Covert ops are out, daytime bombs are in. If that Globe cartoon doesn't say high stakes, I don't know what does. Imagine playing Jenga mid-earthquake without gloves. That's real diplomacy. Segment 2, Israel's offensive, boom or bust. Since June 13th, Israel's been launching waves of airstrikes on Iran's nuclear plants. Natanz, Fordow, Isfahan, all hit. Then they zipped over command centers, energy depots, even the state news building. It's like a very unsubtle Yelp review of Iran's nuclear program. They killed at least 14 scientists and some generals, including IRGC bigwigs. Iran's air defenses sliced open like Swiss cheese, so Israel switched to a standalone UAV blitzkrieg. Picture swarms of drones darting through the skies, like caffeinated bees armed with mortars. Joke aside, they're degrading Iran's capabilities systematically. Imagine playing chess with someone who keeps smashing your rook with a drone swarm. It's brutal and surgical. But Israel's not done. They hit energy infrastructure too. Oil depots, gas fields, even government buildings. The goal? Weakening both nukes and internal control. It's strategic knockout punches wrapped in a fruit basket of bombs. Here's a tangent. This reminds me of those motivational posters. Systematic destruction. Just do it. Except the caption is nuclear meltdown. Paint it red, add sirens, and call it Israel's summer blockbuster. So yes, Israel's unleashing direct bombs, not just tweets. And Iran, looking at its air defense scorecard like, we're getting smoked. At this point, you gotta ask, is diplomacy just flickering or completely unplugged? Segment 3, Iran's response, drones, missiles, and chaos. Iran answered back with style and volume. Over 450 missiles, 1,000 drones. Most were intercepted, thanks to Israel's Iron Dome and friends. But some got through. Residential areas hit, hospitals wobbled. Cluster bombs at Soroka Medical Center wounded 80 people. Civilians caught in the crossfire. The drones? They fly so slow they might as well be carrying beach umbrellas. 9-hour journeys through hostile airspace. Intercepted. Drones like that need pillows, not warfare, so they're relics of expense account militarization. That said, data says 24 Israelis killed, hundreds wounded. Sirens within range of Dimona, that's Israel's secret nuke site. And in Iran, casualties soared, at least 657 dead, 2,000 wounded, 90% civilians. But Tehran's gone dark, internet blacked out. Families calling relatives like, hello, are you alive, or just buffering? It's tragic, like watching a slow-motion train wreck, but the audience is on the tracks. Let me digress. Why are civilians always collateral in these blockbuster sagas? I don't know. It's like firing confetti cannons at a wedding. Fun till grandma loses an eye. And we're left wondering, what happens if this escalation jig keeps playing? Cue nuclear alarm clocks, ripple effect across energy markets, and global tantrums. So Iran's hitting back, but it's messy and painful. And now all eyes are on whether this is tit for tat or a spiral into full-blown war. Segment 4, Trump's war room, tweets, bombs, and veto power. President Donald J. Trump, yes, he's back, baby, has officially confirmed the U.S. has struck Iran's nuclear sites at Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan. He dropped the bunker buster bomb, the kind of bomb that needs its own gym membership, and then promptly said he's not looking for a ceasefire, he's looking for something better. Better than a ceasefire. What does that even mean? Is it a 2-for-1 punch card at the B-2 bomber outlet store? Also, and this is real, Trump vetoed Israel's plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. That's right, Donald, I never met a drone I didn't like. Trump actually drew a line. Imagine being so extreme, even Trump's like, whoa, buddy. That might destabilize the region. Also, the optics aren't great, especially if he looks like a wizard. Let's pause here. Imagine this scene. Trump in his golden Mar-a-Lago command throne, a general leans in. Mr. President, shall we target the supreme leader, Trump? Nah, I already got the ratings I needed. He also told Tehran to evacuate immediately on Truth Social. You know, as one does, mass international diplomacy via social media. Forget the State Department, just tweet, Tehran, leave now, heart DJT. There's some twisted logic here. Trump wants Iran to surrender publicly so he doesn't have to escalate. But if they don't, well, he's already flown the planes, bought the bombs, and God help us, brief J.D. Vance. Segment 5, U.S. military moves, flexing hard just in case. Okay, so let's talk about the U.S. military presence. You know, that quiet, calm, understated shift of 40,000 troops into the Middle East. No biggie. The U.S. has mobilized 27 KC-135 refuelers, 12 C-130s, 52 fighter jets, 2 stealth B-2 bombers, en route to Guam possibly for dramatic effect, and multiple warships like the USS The Sullivans, Arleigh Burke, and Carl Vinson just hanging out near Iran like it's international water polo practice. The posture here is like your uncle at Thanksgiving, arms crossed, jaw clenched, saying, I'm not going to fight unless I have to, unless someone touches the remote. But we're not just posturing. U.S. warships have already intercepted Iranian missiles, launched supportive air defense strikes, and the Pentagon has confirmed that U.S. stealth bombers, those Batmobiles of death, are uniquely capable of targeting Iran's deep-buried nuclear facilities. So while Trump is tweeting, we want peace, the U.S. military is loading the buffet plate for the opposite. That's not strategy. That's a guy ordering from both the vegan and barbecue menu and claiming it's balanced foreign policy. And let's not forget the domestic angle, because nothing makes a war better than a divided Congress and a MAGA base yelling, stay out, while neocons whisper just a little more shock and awe. It's like the world's worst karaoke bar. Everyone's screaming a different song, but the mic is still on fire. Now we get to the beating radioactive heart of the issue, Iran's nuclear program. According to the IAEA, Iran is now enriching uranium up to 60%, just a hop, skip, and warhead away from the 90% required for nuclear weapons. They've got enough material to build 11 nukes in a month. 11! At this point, Iran's nuclear policy feels less like peaceful energy and more like, let's see how long we can play chicken with the apocalypse. And the real kicker? The IAEA has lost continuity of knowledge, a polite way of saying, we have no idea what the hell is going on behind those bunkers anymore. It's like your kid telling you they've definitely done their homework, but refusing to show you the notebook, which is now glowing. Iran says it's all peaceful, just peaceful centrifuges spinning at breakneck speed under mountains guarded by guys named Martyr Division Alpha. And then there's Israel screaming, this is an existential threat, which from their POV is not dramatic, just Tuesday. Netanyahu says the airstrikes will continue for as long as it takes, which we all know is politician speak for until I'm out of office or run out of gas. Let me pause for a moment of realness. This is serious. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi warned the Bushehr nuclear reactor, Iran's only commercial power plant, could unleash mass radioactivity if hit. Israel hasn't bombed it yet, but the dance is getting closer. So we're teetering on the edge of diplomacy and disaster. One slip, one misfire, one wrong target, sorry, and we're into a Fallout DLC with no cheat code. Segment 7. The world reacts. Everyone's yelling, nobody's driving. Ah, yes, the global community. Stepping in just in time to say absolutely everything and do absolutely nothing. The G7 held an emergency meeting in Canada, issued a strongly worded statement, and probably sipped mineral water while chanting, de-escalate, like it's an improv game. Their position: Iran can never get a nuclear weapon, but also, please don't make us send troops, and can we keep gas prices under $5? Even the UN Secretary General sounded like your dad during a family argument. Please, let's not internationalize this any further. Too late, Antonio. The globe is already playing Risk on hard mode. Russia and China, meanwhile, came out swinging with strongly concerned eyebrows. Putin called Israel's airstrikes sternly, categorically unacceptable. A bold move from the guy who thinks international law is a buffet. He also asked everyone to calmly return to diplomacy, presumably after calling shotgun on Iran's oil reserves. China is doing its usual delicate dance, publicly condemning Israel, calling for peace, while secretly scanning both Amazon and Alibaba for discount centrifuge parts. Let's not forget Europe. Germany says Iran must show firmly movement, explanatory, but, peaceful movement, like yoga, ideally with inspectors watching. At this point, the only thing being enriched faster than uranium is the vocabulary of diplomatic uselessness.
Segment 8.
Iran's crumbling core: censorship, succession, and secret bunkers. So what's happening inside Iran while all this explodes outside? Glad you asked. First off, Supreme Leader Khamenei has reportedly retreated to a secure bunker, which, let's be real, probably doubles as a luxury panic room with holograms of martyrdom. He's begun emergency succession plans, which feels a little like drafting a eulogy before the funeral starts. Meanwhile, reformist President Masoud Pezeshkian, who campaigned on lifting sanctions through diplomacy, is now stuck running a government where every street light is on fire, half his own security forces are dead, and the internet is out. Welcome to management. Inside the regime, it's chaos. Ultra-hardliners want total resistance. Reformists want talks. And somewhere in the middle is a fax machine still printing out last year's JCPOA agreement. Oh, and don't forget the economic collapse. Inflation is at 37%. The real is plummeting faster than Trump's approval with Gen Z. And the only thing rising is the black market price of bread and VPNs. Israel's been bombing not just nuclear sites, but social control targets, cyber police, internal security HQs, even the Basij. It's like they're playing psychological chess, and Iran's only got checkers left. Worse, their beloved Axis of Resistance proxy network, nearly kaput. Hezbollah's chilling in silence. Hamas is mostly spent, and the Houthis are like, yeah, we're good over here in Yemen, thanks. So here's the vibe. Iran's military is battered, its internal unity is cracked, and its supreme leader is playing real-life Where's Waldo behind reinforced concrete. Let's call this what it is: a regime on the defensive, and not just from bombs, but from itself. Segment 9, diplomacy in the age of bad reception. And now we enter the diplomatic Bermuda Triangle. Trump insists the U.S. wants peace, just not the boring kind. His message: Iran must dismantle its entire enrichment program, close its nuclear facilities, and ideally just do everything America says with a smile. And to carry that message, Trump might send J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff. Yes, J.D. Vance, the senator best known for bringing Appalachian vibes to foreign policy. I don't know about you, but nothing says high-stakes nuclear diplomacy like a guy who wrote Hillbilly Elegy holding Iran's fate in one hand and a Mountain Dew in the other. Iran's reply, basically, nope. They refuse to negotiate with the U.S. while bombs are falling, which, fair. It's hard to sign a treaty when the roof's on fire. Meanwhile, European diplomats are trying to stitch together something resembling a peace process, but it's like trying to patch a hot air balloon with Band-Aids and hope. Iran's foreign minister rejected U.S. demands for zero enrichment, insisting on the right to peaceful nuclear work, in the same way raccoons insist they're just visiting your garbage. Here's the real kicker: nobody trusts anybody. Israel's bombing to stop nukes, which is making Iran want nukes even more. Trump's threatening escalation unless Iran de-escalates, but won't stop escalating long enough to give Iran time to de-escalate. And the UN? The UN is busy drafting another statement. Diplomacy isn't just stalled, it's in a medically induced coma hooked up to cables labeled strategic ambiguity and unrealistic demands. Segment 10. Reactor Roulette, playing chicken with fallout. Here we are, folks. The Boucher conundrum, or as I like to call it, Reactor Roulette. It's you hit it, you buy it. So far, Israel has avoided bombing Boucher, Iran's only commercial nuclear power plant. Great restraint, considering they've hit basically every other building with a centrifuge in the zip code. But Boucher is different. It's full of actual nuclear fuel, and if it goes up, we're not talking about a statement of strength. We're talking radiological fallout raining on your hummus. The head of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, practically begged the UN like a substitute teacher on the last day of school. Please don't launch missiles into the nuclear reactor class. It might, irradiate an entire region. Wild how we're at the point where someone has to say that out loud. Even Putin got involved. Putin urging Israel not to harm Russian workers at Boucher. And when Vladimir Crimea River Putin is warning about international boundaries, you know we're through the looking glass. Let's face it, we're one oops away from Iran turning into the Middle East version of Chernobyl with oil reserves. This isn't just about stopping uranium, it's about avoiding a mushroom cloud and a "Dear World, we tried" letter from the IAEA. Segment 11, choose your own catastrophe, future scenarios. All right, let's play America's most terrifying game show, Choose Your Own Catastrophe. Scenario 1, controlled confrontation. Israel keeps bombing, Iran keeps trying to hit back, and things kind of simmer violently. Think of it like a slow cooker filled with TNT. Most likely scenario, nobody wins, but nobody launches nukes either. Yay? Scenario 2, U.S. gets involved. If Iran hits U.S. assets or blocks oil shipping, Trump unleashes more airstrikes. Maybe he even rolls out the military-industrial red carpet. Suddenly it's 2003 again, but with TikTok updates and AI-generated Pentagon briefings. Scenario 3, diplomacy makes a cameo. Iran gets tired of being pounded like a bad steak and signals willingness to talk. The U.S. sends J.D. Vance and a YouTube personality. Peace breaks out, everyone breathes a little easier, and then immediately fights about it on Twitter. Scenario 4, regime collapse. Iran's government cracks under economic pressure, military defeat, and internal chaos. New leadership rises, maybe even pro-Western, and the world rejoices. For 10 seconds before someone tweets something stupid and ruins it. Scenario 5, full nuclear nightmare. Someone hits the wrong site, reactor goes boom. Fallout spreads, oil markets crash, refugees pour across borders. Meanwhile, politicians argue over whether to blame China, God, or Hunter Biden. So, which door do you open? Personally, I'd like the one with less fire, fewer missiles, and maybe a chance for someone to remember diplomacy exists. But hey, I'm just a satirist with a camera crew. The wheel's already spinning. Segment 12, the Trump Doctrine. Maximum pressure, minimum exit strategy. Let's zoom out for the final frame. Trump's strategy here is textbook maximum pressure. Hit Iran's nuke program, scare them into surrender, then bask in the afterglow of global dominance. The problem? That glow might be coming from a melted nuclear reactor. He's gambling that Iran will fold like a wet napkin, just like North Korea didn't. But Iran isn't playing that game. They're pushing back with rockets, proxies, and a nuclear program that's getting closer to weapons grade by the day. Meanwhile, Trump's also managing the domestic chaos. MAGA isolationists want out, neocons want in, Democrats are either screaming about congressional authorization or nervously sipping chamomile tea behind closed doors. And through it all, Trump keeps saying, "I'm not too much in the mood to negotiate." Dude, you're the president, not a hangry toddler. So, what are we left with? A weakened Iran on the verge of desperation. An Israel with nothing to lose, a U.S. teetering between deterrence and disaster, and a president who thinks every crisis is an opportunity to sell limited edition NFTs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Trump Merica Doctrine. All in, no backup plan, tweet hard and hope the fallout's just metaphorical.